Thank you so much, Hans, and good morning to you all. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the UU Church of Columbia Online, a congregation striving to embody courageous love, radical welcome, and deep connection. We are grateful this morning in our online worship to be able to connect with you, whether you're in Missouri or beyond, wherever you are connecting. Thank you for joining us. In this particular season, we are worshiping online together at 9:30 each Sunday and in person outdoors at 10:30. We invite you to keep joining us in either format. A few comments about protocol for our online worship. We are in Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. For those of you with us on Zoom, we're in webinar mode, so we can't hear or see you, but you can all say hello and interact with the service through the chat feature on Zoom and the comments on Facebook. If you're with us on Zoom, please select everyone when you go to type a comment so everyone can see what you have to add. This will be particularly useful during our time of sharing joys and sorrows a bit later in the service. A few notes about accessibility. We are using Zoom's native auto captioning service, which means you will see automatically generated subtitles at the bottom of your screen. If you prefer, you can hide or alter the subtitles by clicking the closed caption button on the screen. We also have automatic captioning enabled on our Facebook stream. And we will be providing spoken descriptions of the videos and images we use. We'd like to invite you to please contact us if you have any other accessibility or inclusion needs that we can strive to meet in our online worship. If this is your first time visiting with us online, we'd like to invite you to fill out a digital visitor's card at the link provided in the chat. Let us know a little bit about you and help us stay in touch with you. And this morning, we are very pleased to welcome our new Director of Music Ministry, Violet Vonderhaar, who has provided this morning's music. I'd like to invite you to take a deep breath, find a comfortable spot for your body, and settle into this time of inspiration with the help of our musician as we receive our Prelude, an original piece by Violet. Please enjoy.
Good morning. This is Violet Vonderhaar, your new Director of Music. I'm so excited to be here with you all, and I can't wait to see what kind of music magic we're going to make together. It's an exciting time. So thank you all so much for welcoming me into your family, into your community, and I'm going to start with some music. This is called Ready to Fly. It's an original tune. Stretched wide, looking up at the sky. Yeah, I'm ready to fly, ready to fly. I'm ready to fly, ready to fly.
We, of many backgrounds and identities, personalities and ideas, gather collectively in shared pursuit of the sacred. Together we make up love's body. Wherever one of us is in pain, our whole body aches. Wherever one of us is cut off, the whole body is wounded. Whoever is kept away by discriminatory policies or practices or prejudices, our collective soul suffers the loss of their presence. We need one another in order to be whole. Love, may we become your presence enfleshed, in service to the world and to one another. Our opening hymn is Come, Come Whoever You Are, led in this video by Jess Hoyteman of the Bell Street Unitarian Chapel. We invite you to sing along from home to the video, which is a still image of a sunset with the lyrics on the screen, and we will also paste the lyrics in the chat.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, condemned, worshipper, whoever you're leaving, ours is no worshipper, lover is living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, whoever you are, condemned, worshipper, whoever you're leaving, ours is no worshipper, lover is living. Come yet again, come.
We now light our chalice, symbol of our faith in the community that holds us and the bright flame of the human spirit that unites us. As we share an image of our church chalice on the screen, you may wish to light a candle at home or look in the chat for a digital chalice. If you follow the link, it will pull up a chalice online for you that you can click to light. And so, as we light our chalice, will you please join me in lifting your voices at home to share our weekly words of affirmation shared in the chat and on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now, as we share an image of lit candles and our joys and sorrows stones on the screen, I'd like to invite you to bring your loving attention to our community as we share the joys, sorrows, and prayers of the people. I invite you to begin by sharing your joys and sorrows on the chat, and I will read them after I also share those submitted at the website. We join our hearts with Shannon Mulvania Beck, who has two joys to celebrate this week. First, her son Declan's 7th birthday was Friday on October 22nd. And Andrew and Shannon got married on the grounds of Nelson Atkins Art Museum in Kansas City last Saturday, October 16th. Congratulations to the happy couple. We are overjoyed with and for you. I now invite your joys, sorrows, and prayers in the chat, and I will share them aloud. We join our heart with Jim Chanteau, who shares a joy of his son David's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to David. We join our hearts with Stephanie, who shares joy at today's launch of our accessibility campaign to put in an elevator. Stephanie is up early in California just to share in our service this morning with that campaign launch. Welcome, Stephanie. Good to have you with us. I'd like to share a joy for our new members who will be joining in just a moment after our time of joys and sorrows. We join our hearts with Mindy, who shares love and healing for a friend whose cancer has traveled to her brain. We send all of our healing wishes. These things and so many more joys, sorrows, prayers, hopes, and yearnings we hold together in the love that connects and upholds and sustains and transcends us. Let us take a moment of silence to send our love and care to all who need it. Amen. And we will now pull down our slide and pull up our new members who are joining this morning. Membership in the Unitarian Universalist Church is an invitation to dedicate your lives in the service of love and the kinship of community. The invitation to spend your lives with us as a community, to spend them on that which is worthy and beautiful and good, and to take up your ministry, showing compassion to a world that needs our care. Upon joining our congregation, members join our covenant to show up for each other and for our world week after week, that all might be renewed in the spirit of courageous love, reminded of our highest aspirations, and blessed by connection within, between, and beyond us. As a covenantal faith, united not by creed but by sacred vow, we promise to support one another, to grow together, and to work side by side for the healing of the world. We have two new UU families joining our congregation today online, and two more joining us on in person. And we are so delighted to welcome you. I'd like to invite Jill and the Brennan family to turn on your cameras and microphones. And I'll ask you to just say a brief word of introduction to the congregation so that we can welcome you. We'll start with the Brennans.
I'm Marcy. We've been attending online since, I guess, December, and we're happy to have the opportunity to become members.
Looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Welcome. And Jill, you'll need to unmute.
Sorry. Good morning, I'm Jill. I've been in Columbia for about 20 years, and I visited the church a couple times and always found it very welcoming. So I'm really thrilled to be a part of the church now, connect with the folks, and be of service.
Wonderful. I'd like to invite you now, as our new members joining, to join in our covenant. As we gratefully welcome you into membership, Grateful for your commitment and your desire to join us in deeper ownership of our congregational life and our shared ministry. So to you, our new members, I'm going to ask you some questions of covenant, and then at the end invite you to answer by saying, I do, or we do. So to our new members, do you freely enter into membership in the UU Church of Columbia, accepting all of the rights and responsibilities therein? As best as you are able, do you promise to bring your whole self to this congregation and to give and receive in the spirit of gratitude and hope? Do you freely join in this community's covenant to seek meaning and truth in love, to respond to the call of justice, and to be strengthened by our life together? If so, please answer, I do.
I do.
Welcome then to our ever-expanding circle of love. Congregation, I invite you to join me in welcoming our new members with words of welcome and affirmation in the chat, and perhaps a round of applause from home. We are so grateful to welcome you into our community, which grows better and more beautiful with every new member.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just watching all of those. I'm muted. I'm watching those wonderful words of welcome pour in the chat. I hope you can let those wash over you, our new members. Thank you. We'll now turn to our sermon time together. My grandmother taught me that the good china does no good packed away in felt sleeves, buried in the back of the closet, carefully stacked in a wooden box under hanging layers of dresses. Pull out the good dishes, she would say, and we would set the table for our hamburger dinner with such great care. My grandfather liked the tall glass for his iced tea, but my brother and I needed the low tumblers to fit our small hands just right. Grandmother needed the wide chair with the tall cushion for her back, and I liked to pull up the office chair to spin while I ate. I folded napkins into triangles and put ice in most of the glasses, but not in grandmother's. It would receive Diet Coke at just the right room temperature. In the end, we would admire our beautiful mismatched tablescape tailored just exactly to the needs of each diner. The good, beautiful china and 4 different kinds of glasses, carefully placed napkins, and 4 uniquely shaped chairs. Then grandmother would have a thought and hurry to set another place, this one with a taller chair for a petite guest. She would send me down the elevator to the lobby of her high-rise apartment building to invite her hairstylist to dinner, who lost her husband the previous year and was still lonely sometimes. Such great love I learned preparing the table for hamburger dinner. Bring out the best. Invite someone who could use a friend, and give each what they need to be comfortable and to feel themselves beloved. What dignity, what care. Here at the UU Church of Columbia, we have a mission of radical welcome. And I learned from setting the table with my grandmother that radical welcome is far more than the open door we sometimes think it to be. Radical welcome is actually a place prepared thoughtfully and with care. Radical welcome is taking the time to ensure the comfort of every body. It is an expression of love for each guest in all their particularity. This kind of radical welcome, more than an open door, but a carefully prepared place for each, is countercultural in a world that seeks one size to fit all, especially in our institutions. Our society moves fast and pursues efficiency above all, and is loath to pull out the good china or pay close attention to the specific and beloved needs of each guest. This leads to ill-fitting welcome, physical discomfort, or outright exclusion, even when the invitation is open and wide. We would do well to remember this here in our congregation. My grandmother, from whom I learned to set a beautiful table, was a lover and proud supporter of the arts, as well as her grandchildren. She pledged to the symphony, the ballet, and the touring musical theater series. But the arts did not always love her back. She could only go to see the show if there were seats available in one of 3 particular rows, which didn't require her making her way up and down precarious steps. Once her tickets were in a different row than she thought. She fell and bruised her hip and her pride quite badly, and didn't go back to the symphony for a year. When I became your minister 9 years ago, my grandmother made the 5-hour drive with aching back in the passenger seat of a Ford sedan to be here at our beloved church for my installation. She beamed as I was charged with the ministry. She sang the hymns seated in her old-fashioned wavering soprano. I have no doubt she dropped multiple $20 bills in the collection plate that day. And after the service, she chose a sugar cookie instead of the pie we served, because those were her very favorite. She admired my office, its spaciousness, and shelves of books. But there was no way for her to get down the stairs safely. And she was too exhausted to lower herself back into that car, ride down to the lower level, haul herself out of the low seat to look around. So she never saw the bottom half of our church building, its tiny tables and chairs, its colorful paper decorations, which were further evidence of our vibrancy, but not accessible to her. We did not adequately prepare a place for her, and for so many others over so many years. You may yourself have a story of facing access barriers or witnessing another experience those barriers here in our beloved community, even as we offer an open invitation. We have not loved everyone back. Let us grieve that truth. And let us turn our hearts seriously to our mission. Radical welcome is not a phrase we speak or a statement at the beginning of worship. It is not open arms and a beckoning smile. Radical welcome is a beautiful place prepared for everybody. Open doors are not enough. Without preparing to meet the physical, emotional, spiritual, and cognitive needs of a wide variety of human beings, our statements of welcome may as well be whispered to an empty room. Our beautiful table may as well be set at the top of a mountain without any rope. Our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to proclaim and embody the worth and dignity of each very particular person within the context of the deeply material interconnection of the whole that recognizes we are not whole without a place for each. This embodiment can lead us to experience the kind of deeply beloved community that truly tastes like heaven on this earth when we are fully living it. And this embodiment requires setting carefully prepared places for every body while consistently widening the table, adding all the leaves, pulling up some card tables too, so that we may feast on the profound beauty of this life with a place that fits for each particularly beloved one. Embodying our faith requires what UU educator C.B. Beale has described as preemptive radical inclusion. Beale writes, preemptive radical inclusion means that we intentionally position ourselves before we know anything at all about anyone in the room to presuppose that everyone is already and always in the room. They write, we don't wait for an individual to tell us what they need and then meet their needs. We create experiences that preemptively involve them. The burden is on those in leadership to be aware of the needs of the people we are most likely to miss. Let me repeat that last line. The burden is on those in leadership to be aware of the needs of the people we are most likely to miss. And I'd like to add that we are all the leadership. It is our responsibility by our faith to set the table for those we are most likely to miss. Doing so, we finally create the truly embodied welcome table that we are called to, preparing a way for everybody and for the future needs of our very own holy bodies in every season. Beale is careful to remind us through their reflections that inclusion is not actually our end goal. Justice and thriving and joy is our end goal. And inclusion is the only way we can get there. Inclusion is the pathway to the transformation that we seek. So we don't stop at setting a beautiful table with a place for everybody, just as we cannot stop with an open door. But that careful preparation is the only way we can have the gorgeous collective love feast that we dream of and pursue. So today, our congregation is taking our next step, our next role, our next embodiment into our mission of radical welcome. We are preparing the table in a way we acknowledge we have previously failed to do by making our building more accessible to more bodies. This morning is the launch of our Rising to the Moment Accessibility Capital campaign to include our dear ones who are already and always here in the beloved, beautiful community we are trying to create, but who face significant and unacceptable barriers to full participation in our community. This morning, we know that we must right this wrong and set a better table. And so we are raising $400,000 to install a full-sized elevator and the structural changes it will require, to replace decades-old carpeting that has become a significant tripping hazard as well as an eyesore, to put in automatic door openers on the main upstairs and downstairs entrances, and to install Braille signage throughout the building. My spouse and I have chosen to make a significant gift of about 3 times our annual pledge to this campaign in honor of my grandmother, who left me some stock I will be donating, in addition to her legacy of thoughtful, beautiful hospitality. And I have some excellent news for you today. 20 other pre-campaign givers also already made commitments to this campaign to get us off to an excellent start. We have already received pledges totaling $284,000 toward our goal, in addition to a $16,000 grant from the Mid-America region of the UUA, meaning that we are only $100,000 away from our $400,000 goal at the launch of our campaign today. These improvements are well within our reach if our remaining families can each consider a generous gift from their own context to pitch in with what we have already raised. Now, I want to let you know that this campaign is in addition to your annual support of our congregation, which we use to pay our staff and fund our programs and maintain our increasingly more accessible facility. This elevator will have annual maintenance costs. So please think of your gift to this campaign as a separate gift when considering how much you can contribute. Some of you may have access to inherited or saved wealth that you could consider sharing. And some of you will stretch just to give a little bit more. All of it matters deeply. All of it will make this congregation a better, more beloved community. Dear ones, it is time to pull out the good china and to set a beautiful, mismatched, inclusive table with a place for every beloved body that waits to join the love feast with our community. I hope that you will dig deeply and give generously, whatever that means to you. And I hope that you will experience your gift and our community increasingly as a delicious embodiment of the world, the love feast, the community that we are seeking to create. May it be so. Let's make it so. Let's set that welcome table and let's sing our hymn from home. We're going to sit at the welcome table. It's recorded in this video by Jess Hoyteman of Bell Street Unitarian Chapel. There is no image on the screen. It's simply a black screen with the words. We invite you to join us in singing from home and celebrating this project that we are beginning, that we are continuing, that we are committing to embody today.
We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table. All kinds of people around that table one of these days. Hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
As we continue with our campaign launch, we have testimony from two of our accessibility campaign team members who will testify to the impact of this campaign in their own lives. We'll hear first from Melissa Ensign Bedford, who is a member of our Board of Trustees, and then from Ruth Milledge, a member of the Accessibility Campaign Task Force.
Good morning. Last spring, as I was getting ready to join the church board, I started to think of what it would be like to return to the church in person and how that would feel. It had been a long time since I had stepped into the church building. From board discussions, I knew that our building required some care, but this was nothing new to me. I remember sitting in our sanctuary before COVID hit and seeing areas of our carpet where it was going threadbare. At that time, it was more of an aesthetic issue. I also knew that daily heavy use of our facilities over the winter probably did not help the threadbare carpet situation. As it turned out, the carpet is no longer an aesthetic issue. It is an accident injury issue waiting to happen. And what an amazing thing it is to have to replace our carpet. COVID kept us, for the most part, locked down, and yet in the spirit of courageous love, we still found a way to be a place of radical welcome. The cost of carpet is minimal compared to the warmth and safety our church gave to members of our external community. From thinking of the carpet, my mind began to mentally wander through the church. In my mind, I began to walk from the sanctuary to the foyer, and on my way to the kitchen, my mind stopped at the stairs to the lower level. I cannot put into words the feelings I had looking at those stairs in my mind's eye. It was not the thought of the lower level. It was the feeling of being cut off from an area in my church home. Due to degenerative disc disease in my lower back, certain things have become very painful. Walking up and down stairs is just one of those things. Like many medical issues, there are good days, days that I can go up and down stairs, and there are bad days where just the thought of stairs would make me cringe. Recently, well, actually, at the July board meeting, we gathered at our church. We met in the centering room, and upon arrival, I started to park up in the main lot. But then I remembered the stairs and decided I didn't want to be in pain after climbing the stairs after the meeting. So I drove to the back of the church and parked in the lower lot where we have a few spaces to park. It was great until the end of the meeting when everyone went up the stairs together and I walked out alone in the dark to the lower parking level. I'm kind of wondering how returning to church will affect the way I participate. After in-person services, do I drive my car around to the back so I can participate in the lower level activities? What if all the parking spaces are taken? Why do I even have to think about this? How many others have had this thought? How many others see our mission of radical welcome only to have a partial experience because our building prevents them from participating fully? We say we are radically welcoming, but are we really? The truth is, by having a 2-story building where the church participation occurs on both floors with no lift or elevator access, what we are really saying is we are radically welcoming only to those who are able to maneuver around our building. And we've known we can't serve everyone because for years we've recognized it with a sign that reads Future Home of UUCC Elevator. We have good intentions, but they are just that, intentions. When my spouse and I joined this church 15 years ago, we were hopeful. You see, my spouse has MS, and just like me, can have debilitating issues that come and go. The future elevator sign 15 years ago gave hope. Today, to us, that sign is painful. After more than 15 years, the sign is a broken promise. It is this broken promise that brings my testimony back to the spring board meeting. You see, it was me at that meeting. It was at that meeting that I had what some would call a come to Jesus moment. with the board. I'm not Christian, but I was moved by something more than myself at that moment. In UUism, I guess you might call this the spirit of life, the mysterious energy that fills the human vessel with determination and courage. And it is here today that I come filled with the same energy, the same determination, and the courage to say, the time has come to hear the voices in our community that we have ignored. It is time to create a space where we can truly practice radical welcome, where someone doesn't have to figure out how to get from one level to another to participate and belong. As a board member, this is exciting and scary. We know that it is expensive. We know this means hard conversation about money and fiduciary responsibility. But this can no longer be a conversation hushed under the table. We need to embrace it and act on it. Thank you.
From the time I got my first allowance, I was expected to give some to Sunday school and to put some aside for the future, for a time when I really needed it. These became lifelong practices. After college, I always saved for my retirement. When I retired, I used my money carefully so I would have enough if I needed medical care. I included UUCC in my will and told Molly that my wish was for the money to go toward an elevator. That offer was a hedge. I still worried about a time of great need. And after all, until I died, if I really needed the money, it would be there for me and you wouldn't have it. Meanwhile, the stairs in the church became a problem for me. I found a workaround for going from floor to floor by driving back and forth from one parking lot to the other. But during the shutdown, I realized how burdensome that had become. I faced the probability that I would need to find another church, an accessible one. I researched churches in Columbia and visited a few, but none were a fit. The thought of losing UUCC was grievous. Then the accessibility project took shape. And it dawned on me that the future I had saved for is here. I really need this project. I had a check cut from my IRA, and I pledged to send another after the first of the year.
Thank you to Melissa and Ruth for offering their testimony. We know that there are many other stories in our congregation of the deep need for this project for all of us, for the bodies that are already in the building, for the bodies we want to welcome to the building, for the future needs of our own beloved bodies. This is a necessary project. The time is now. This is the moment we've been saving for, waiting for, and we would like to invite you to contribute. The way that you can give to this campaign is by visiting our campaign website. uucomo.org/rising is the website for this Rising to the Moment accessibility campaign. There you will find a pledge card that you can fill out to let us know how much you can commit to give to this campaign. Gifts can be made now or over the course of 2 years, if that helps you make the kind of gift that feels exciting to you to this campaign. We can accept giving online, although we'd like you to know that we do incur a 3% credit card fee for online giving. The best way to receive a gift for this campaign is by check or by direct withdrawal or payment to the congregation, we are able to receive gifts of stock if that is a way that you are able to give. That's how my family is able to stretch our gift into a level that feels really exciting for us. So you can let us know about all of those options on the pledge card, uucomo.org/rising. If you do want to make a gift by credit card today, we certainly welcome that, and we have budget to cover that 3% fee. We very much welcome online giving. You can make a gift at uucomo.org/give and can select one of the options on our online giving is the capital campaign. So you're welcome to give in that way. We'd like to invite your gift today, and we also want to let you know that we're going to be having exciting conversations with one another, reaching out to talk together about this project, to answer any questions you might have, and to dream together about the beloved, beautiful welcome table that we can set in our congregation. So thank you for engaging in this campaign. We're really excited. We're going to keep you updated over the next weeks. And we hope to be able to break ground really soon to get started putting in these needed improvements. So we are going to give you a moment during a time of offering to give in many ways to our congregation, knowing that we are the ones we have been waiting for when it comes to the funding and generosity of our church, that we are self-sustaining, that the things we accomplish are those things that we can accomplish together. So we're going to invite you to either make a gift to our usual offering or to our accessibility campaign this morning as we hear another piece from our new Director of Music Ministry, Violet von der Haar. We'll put all the giving details in the chat. And thank you.
We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. Oh, be a compass, and I'll be your lighthouse. Speak your words with triumph, and I will watch your mouth. And I'll march with you, my sister, to your place of fearing. And we'll dive into those waters and swim into the clearing. And we'll always keep our heads up. Yeah, we'll always sing along. And we'll walk the path of kindness and know where we belong. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. We are moving in wider circles. We are opening our circles. And I'll march with you, my brother, to the mountain top. And we'll hold back the dynamite.
It seems like we are having a tech issue with our song this morning. So we are going to move on to our closing words. With gratitude for the part of the song that we got to hear, a beautiful song by Rising Appalachia. Our closing words are by the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The stakes are very high. The path is never clear. Take courage. For deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone. We can accomplish so much together. We can set such a beautiful table together. We need one another for the feast of life that awaits us. Go in blessing and be a blessing to a world that needs your care, our care. I invite you to join me in singing our benediction. The words are on your screen, and we'll also put them in the chat. Now on leaving one another, may we give of hand and heart. Let us share our benediction lovingly before we part. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you in advance for joining in this exciting campaign. Any questions can be directed to rising@uucomo.org. We can't wait to give you updates in the next couple weeks about our results. We feel excited and passionate, and we will talk to you then. In the meantime, please do join us for coffee hour. The meeting ID and passcode are on the slide. We will put the link in the chat. This is going to be your chance to see one another, to greet one another, catch up, and chat in small breakout rooms. The coffee hour is hosted by April while I go to lead our in-person service. And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful, cozy afternoon amid, in mid-Missouri at least, a rainy day. Take care.